What's up guys, it's Kamahley here, and today I'm going to give you guys the best tips and tricks for competitive Fortnite. This will help beginners or even competitive Fortnite players who've been playing this game for a while. If you're a sub, or even if you're new to my channel, go follow me on Twitter at Kamahley so I can give you guys updates and start hosting giveaways. And as you guys know, I'm a small channel, so any likes or any sub would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you want to help me out, you can use creator code Kamahley in the item shop. And without further ado, let's get into the video. What's up guys, as you know, competitive has been around since like season 2, season 3, and every single season the meta had changed. From nothing to airplanes to swords to ballers, and in this season it seems like nothing again. But it doesn't matter because competitive has always had the same concept and fundamentals every single season. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to show you guys are zone positioning. This is where you want to be in each zone. So there are 4 zones before the moving zone. The moving zone is what we call endgame. It's a zone where the storm is constantly pushing out while you're trying to get to the circle. So usually the first zone is the one where you fight off spawn and or get loot and farm, and you usually want to be in the middle of it. But the first zone is completely random, so it's kind of hard to be exactly in the middle every time. By the second zone, you want to be right in the middle. And for the third zone, you also want to be right in the middle of the zone. Now the fourth zone is where people tend to make a lot of mistakes. I always see new players go into the middle of this zone, but that's actually incorrect. Not only for the reason that being in the middle of this zone will get you griefed and focused, but the next zone is always going to be on the edge. This is the reason why we call it the 50-50 zone. So for the fourth zone, you want to position yourself on the edge because you can get lucky and be in the moving zone, or at least be close to the moving zone. Sometimes you'll get unlucky and you'll be across the other zones, but it's okay. This is why it's called a 50-50, and it's better than being in the middle because you will never actually get zone to land right on you. And now this is where rotations come in place. Now that you guys know where to be in zone, this isn't going to automatically make you be there. In the past seasons, rotating was very simple because we had hoverboards, we had bikes, we had shockwaves, we had shadow bombs, split streams, rifts, ballers. We had a lot of things to get across the map easily. This season, all we have is boats, and they don't spawn everywhere, and you can easily get sniped or lasered from the boat. So now we have to rely on rotating with our foot and tunneling. So rotating for first zone, you just want to get out of spawn as soon as possible. If you don't have full mats, try to farm on the way to zone. On your way, try to avoid every fight possible, because again, we're playing for placement points. A new method everyone is doing when they're far away from zone is pickaxe swinging. So what they do is they pickaxe swing at their opponent while rotating to signal that you don't want to fight and you just want to go get the circle. I used to think this is really bad, but it's actually really helpful, especially in solos, and it's also not a bannable offense. Now don't get this confused with teaming. Do not go next to your opponent, do not sit in there one by one, do not give each other shield, because you can get banned for that. Obviously, it's always brain dead kids that will try to fight you far from circle. In these situations, it's pointless to run because you will lose damage and mats trying to get away from them. Sometimes you need to just keep your cool and get the fight over with quick and get the zone. Sometimes these fights will leave you with no health or no loot, and at this point, this is where you need to relinquish it all. And this is what we call the power play. It's if you know you're not going to have any loot to do good in the end game. So you have to try your best to fight another team and get it over with quickly so you can get more loot for the end game. A really good position in the first or second zone can really set you up, because you'll most likely get the other zones without having to waste any or a lot of mats. Now let's say you finally made it to the late game. How do you go about rotating then? Let's start by saying you don't have to rotate directly straight to zone. This is called a beeline. You do not always want to be caught beelining. So what you want to actually do is look where it's less people and go around until you get the zone. You always want to try to rotate really early, and you don't ever want to rotate last. If you rotate last, you will get beamed by Mongrel and every single controller player there is. Now when it comes to tarping, if you're playing solo, you want to do the tarps that waste less mats and it will get you to circle effectively. So make sure you're practicing tarping effectively and creative. And for squads, you typically want to have a dedicated IGL, and the IGL is who tells you guys what to do, and he also does most of the tarping while you guys give him the mats. Now, everything I taught you guys so far will come in handy to getting a lot of placement points. I will tell you how many placement points you get for a certain place, but they are constantly being changed. Just check the tournament details before you get all your points. Now, placement isn't the only way you get points. You usually get a point per kill, so when it comes to getting kills, especially in higher tier lobbies, it's going to be a lot of box fighting in the early and mid game. Early game is a little bit more RNG because the loot is really random, which is what RNG is, but I have a video made specifically for the early game. I'll put the link in the description. So you guys should be constantly practicing box fights. I recommend 1v1 box fights and 2v2 box fights because I feel like anything higher than that can get a little bit cluttered. Also, make sure you're constantly watching pros box fights because you will learn a lot from them. Some of the best box fighting pros that stream a lot is Clicks, Unknown Army, Assault, Kanata, and even sometimes you can catch Tifu and Booga box fighting. Now, when it comes to getting kills in the end game, it won't be as much box fighting, it's more about aiming. While your IGL is tarping or your team is already in zone, you want to constantly keep spraying and putting pressure on a team that is also trying to get in the circle. Not only will you be wasting all of their mats, but you'll be also racking up a couple of points. This is why I stress being in zone early is so crucial, and this is an easy way you can pick up some kills. Now, if you guys can get all of these tips down, you're going to be improving a lot at competitive Fortnite. So now I'm going to show you guys some bonus tips to keep improving. So what you want to do is you want to have a warm-up routine every day before you start playing, especially if you're going to play a competitive tournament. You want to play some aim training maps, you want to free build, and you want to play a lot of box fighting. I'm going to put some of these map codes down in the description. And you want to always learn from your mistakes. Every time you die, do not blame the game. Do not always blame RNG. Sure, it can always be a factor, especially like when you get sniped, headshotted, even when you're running. That sucks. But what you guys want to do is you want to always look what you did wrong in the gameplay before, and then you want to try to fix it. Also, you want to VOD review yourself after every game, even if you win. You also want to VOD review pro players. Even Booga, the World Cup winner, said that he didn't actually reach his full potential on Fortnite until he started VOD reviewing himself and started VOD reviewing a whole bunch of other pro players. So go out there, practice these tips, and you'll be a really good competitive Fortnite player. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have so many more tips and tricks videos that come in the future to help you guys excel at the game. And again, make sure to remember to follow me on Twitter for updates and for giveaways. And if you guys enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and a sub. And I really appreciate it if you guys use code Kamahley in the item shop before you made a purchase. It's Kamahley, and I'm out.